Hello and welcome inside the Huskies All Access Studios once again. I'm Darren Dupont alongside the Husky Outsiders. Tom Croker down at the end of the table and Dallas Carpenter. The Huskies were in Alberta taking on the winless Golden Bears. In this one, you guys got one word to describe this game?
Frustrating.
Dallas?
Lucky.
All right, well, it's the Alberta Golden Bears who hadn't won in 26 games.
Unfortunately, no video highlights from Alberta in this one, but this ended up being a game. First quarter, after a 22-yard missed single, ended up putting Alberta on the board. It was Denton Kolodinski, a 26-yard field goal, and Jeremy Long, a 2-yard touchdown run, and the Huskies, they led 10-1 after the opening quarter. To the second quarter now, a 54-yard punt single makes the score 10-2 before Curtis Dell hooks up with Adam Zajdel from 9 yards out, and it's 10-9 heading to the break at halftime. Third quarter now, and the Huskies back on offense as Drew Burko hooks up with Andre Lalonde from 41 yards out, capping off an 8-play, 95-yard drive, putting the Huskies up. Then John Trumpy gets the reception from 16 yards out for the Major. It's 24-9 Huskies, but before the third quarter is out, Edmonton driving 7-play, 76-yard drive, capped off by a 4-yard touchdown run from Ed Ilnicki. It's 24-16 now to the fourth quarter. And Curtis Dell, the quarterback, punches it in from 1 yard out, capping off a 7-play, 85-yard drive, tying the ball game at 24. And then Alberta gets the lead after a 40-yard punt single and then a 31-yard field goal. They lead 28-24 before Denton Kolodinski narrows the lead to 1. But Alberta stretches it after Curtis Dell hooks up with Jimmy Ralph from 40 yards out for the touchdown. 35-27. Alberta with the lead late in the fourth quarter. Huskies looking for an answer, and Drew Burko hooks up with Mitch Hillis from 10 yards out on a 75-yard drive that lasted just 5 plays. They go for 2, and the pass to Andre Lalonde ties this game at 35 as we go to overtime. And in overtime, Drew Burko, a 4-play, 35-yard drive in overtime, hooks up with Kit Hillis from 11 yards out. Huskies up 7. Golden Bears get the touchdown back, though. Ed Ilnicki, a 6-yard run. They go for 2, and Jeff Hughes with the pass knocked down. The Huskies escape Alberta with the 1-point win. The Golden Bears going for 2 points to win it and end the streak, but they come up just short. Man, they're close, and this week they've got Regina. What a game.
The Huskies avoid a scare, and they improve to 2-0 on the season with the win as we're back inside the studios with the Outsiders. Tom, what do you make of this game? I mean, a game that everybody expected Saskatchewan to win. They did that, just not the way we would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, certainly a 1-point victory is better than a 1-point loss, but it was a very frustrating game. Poor execution on offense and special teams. Very disappointing performance from the defense on both sides of the ball. If they get off to another slow start like that next week on defense, we'll get run right out of our own stadium by Calgary. Unfortunately, we've had a few of these games in the last few years, and it makes you wonder, was the tremendous second half against Manitoba, was that an outlier? I hope not. I don't think it was, but you can't help but wonder a little bit.
You know, the Alberta offense was good against Calgary in week 1, but still the Dinos took care of business. There was, you know, some injury trouble in this game too, which, you know, didn't help our defense either.
Well, that's right. We lost Taylor Wren, I believe, in about the second quarter. He's a starting cornerback for us, and he was tough to replace in the defensive secondary. So, and then we've also lost Evan Macabrota on defensive line, and he's going to be a tough one to replace. He's been worked into the rotation. So, yeah, that didn't help things very much, and certainly I hope they learned a few lessons and you know, move on in a more positive fashion from here.
Well, trying to spin it in a bit of a positive fashion, you know, what can they take out of this game, Tom? I mean, you mentioned that it's, you know, not what they wanted, but is there anything positive to take away from this?
Well, they're able to finish when the chips were down, you know, so give them credit there. They finished strong, but honestly, should the game ever have gotten to that point? We've had trouble protecting leads in the second half of ball games and fourth quarter of ball games. We had a 15-point lead here. I think maybe all of us, including the players and the coaches, thought we've got this one. I don't know what happened, but boy, did the game turn once we got up by 15.
What does this do for their confidence?
Well, you can look at it two ways. I mean, this can boost their confidence going forward. Certainly, they came back in the last few minutes and they did get the victory, but they gave up the lead, as Tom mentioned, and you know, they were very inconsistent, especially from the week prior. So you know, hopefully they just move on from this, use it as a good lesson, and they're better prepared for the Dinos on Friday, because they'll need to be.
They will need to be. Well, we'll talk about the Alberta Golden Bears a little bit later on. They're due for their first win and poised to break that losing streak, but time now to hand out this week's game balls, if we can try and do that. Tom, we'll start with you.
There were some good performances. Bryden Osmond, I'm highlighting him. He gets a game ball. He had 4 receptions. He's becoming more and more a part of the offense, and I believe he had 72 yards, including 1 big catch on the game-tying drive.
And now, coincidentally, last week's player profile on the show. Dallas, your game ball?
I'm going to be going with Tyler Chow, the running back. Even though he only had, I believe, 4 carries, he still got over 5 yards per carry and showed flashes of brilliance in there. And definitely, he's going to be a player to watch going forward. And I'm hoping that he's used more as the season progresses.
All right, there's your game balls as the Huskies narrowly escape Edmonton with a victory, moving to 2-0 on the season. They've got Calgary in town on Friday. We'll have more on that game coming up a little bit later in the show. But as we come back from the break, we'll be back down to Griffith Stadium for Huskies All Access as we continue after this. All right, welcome back to Huskies All Access down here at Griffith Stadium for our coaches chat with Brian Towers. Brian, wasn't pretty, but congratulations on 2-0 start.
Yeah, and I guess that's the bottom line. The game's behind us now, and we came out of there with 2 points, and that's what we're going to hang our hats on and get better this week.
You know, I guess what happened going into that game? Obviously, you know, people maybe expected a different result, but we knew that Alberta had a good offense. They put up 300 yards against Calgary. You know, what did you see in this game that maybe you didn't expect?
Well, I didn't see much that I didn't expect, except maybe some of the passion from our football team. I thought we would play a lot more passionately than we did. You know, our execution wasn't terrible, certainly on offense, but you could just see it watching the film, watching the game unfold, that extra edge and that fire and drive and passion and enthusiasm that we played against Manitoba just wasn't there.
You did engineer a comeback, and Drew Burko engineered a nice long drive and then an overtime to actually get you the victory, which had to have been nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, we were really sporadic on offense. I mean, we jumped out front to a 10-2 lead and had driven the field twice, got a field goal and a touchdown. Driving on the 3rd possession or 4th possession, and we get a 50-yard gain called back. We instead of being first and goal from their 6-yard line and maybe going up 17-2. Next play, Drew gets sacked, we fumble, and 4 plays later, they're in their end zone, and it's 10-9, and all of a sudden they have life.
Yeah, it's a defining moment for sure.
Absolutely.
So in a game like this, you know, some fans think doom and gloom, or they should have beat them by 50 points like Calgary did. What do you take away from this? What are the positives that you can pull from this?
Well, the positives are that we never quit. I mean, we were taken for dead twice. I mean, they're up 8 with a minute left. Excited, they haven't won a game in 3 years, and instead of us folding it up and giving it to them, we drove the length of the field and tied it. All right. Then they drive down, have a chance to win, and we get a break. And then I felt real good about our chances as soon as we went to overtime.
Obviously, one key in that game is when injuries set in on the defensive side of the ball, and that was a task you had to overcome.
Yeah, and I mean, we said at the start of the year, we don't have a lot of depth. Our fans have heard me say that a million times, and Taylor Wren goes out early, Macabroda goes out early, and all of a sudden we're playing a couple kids that haven't had a whole bunch of reps in there, and again, credit to Alberta, they took advantage of those kids, and it's not their fault. They just haven't played a lot of college football yet.
All right, enough about that game. You got Calgary at home here on Friday night, battle of 2-0 teams here. What do you see from Calgary that you haven't seen maybe in other years, or that you're looking for on Friday?
I see a veteran football team that is playing with tons of confidence and playing very, very fast right now. They believe in what they're doing. They are a pressure team all the way. They pressure you on defense. They're fast on offense, and they pressure you on special teams too. They block kicks. They get after you with their speed, and we've got to match that. And last year, I think we did a pretty good job both times we played them of matching them. And we're going to have a good game plan offensively. We just got to go execute.
Yeah, you played them real well last year. Is there one area, you talk about all the pressure on offense, defense, special teams, is there one area that's a concern that you really need to excel in to be able to win?
Well, we got to get first downs, and we got to stay on the field, because if we keep throwing our defense out against them, I mean, they put up 73 and 61 or 62 points or something in their first 2 games. So if you keep throwing that offense on the field, they're going to score, and they've just got too many good athletes, and so you gotta manage the game. You gotta keep the ball on offense, get your own first downs, take advantage, and don't give them any defensive scores, any punt return scores, because I think they've got one of those in both games too.
What changes on a short week for you finally here?
Not really. It's a short week for them too. They came back from BC. With a Saturday game, and they've got to travel on Thursday. So it's a shorter week for them than for us, but we had to take it easy tonight. We normally go 1s versus 1s and some competition on the first day of the week. We didn't do that. We wanted to kind of slow it down, get a look at Calgary, because they do play a different front. They play a 30-base front defense, and we wanted to, get our show teams up to speed and just kind of get a first look at their formations and what they do.
Great, taking it easy. I think they were doing some sprints in the background behind us, but
yeah, our defensive guys are doing a few sprints. The offensive guys, they ran knots in practice tonight. Our receivers run miles in practice, and they've taken it in. But
that's awesome.
Yep.
Great, Coach.
Okay, good deal. Thanks.
Best of luck on Friday. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet. Thank
All right,
you.
There's Brian Towers, the head coach of the Huskies.
All right, here was Shane Buchanan, running back for the Huskies. Shane, you got Calgary this weekend, the #1 team in Canada West, the second best team in the country. What do they pose as their biggest threat here coming into Griffith?
I mean, they're talented in all facets of the game, and we're lucky that we do have them at home. It's difficult for any team to come in and play at Griffith Stadium.
How much of a turning point maybe in the season was that game against Alberta, and being able to come away with the win, especially when you were down late?
It was a wake-up call for us. We wanted to do a lot better in that game, and we realized that we need to come out and play every down if we want to be successful, and so we're going to be a lot more prepared for Calgary.
Okay, Shane, you're familiar with the show. This is a minute with. You know how it works?
Yeah, I know it works.
All right, 1 minute. Quick question. Timer's on the clock. We actually did this once. The timer didn't work, so we're doing it again. All right, timer's on the clock. We're going. You were a CIS academic All-Canadian, right? What's your best subject?
Probably industrial relations.
Industrial relations. Okay, what is industrial relations?
Like the labor market and collective bargaining, employee relations.
Who's the smartest guy on the Huskies team?
Definitely Josh Butcher.
Josh Butcher? All right, what's your plans with your business degree?
I worked for Cameco this summer. I'd like to get back with them after I graduate.
You say you wear 2 pairs of socks. Why is that?
It actually started from when I was playing minor football, and I ordered a pair of cleats online, and they're too big for me. I need to wear 2 pairs.
Is it weird that I don't wear any socks?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Okay, you got 25 seconds. Tell us 5 things we don't know about you.
I was born and raised in Saskatoon. 2 older brothers that graduated from the U of S as well. I went to high school with Brett Boyko, who's going to be the first overall draft pick for the CFL this year. I work in our Husky football gym, and I used to work at, used to be a personal trainer.
You did it with 4 seconds to spare. You're the first guy who's done it.
Great.
That is a minute with, and we're just finished now. All right. Best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, there's Shane Buchanan on a minute with. We're heading into the studio to tee up the Week 3 matchup against Calgary next.
All right, welcome back. Huskies All Access now here on the field at Griffith Stadium for this week's player profile with Andre Lalonde, first-year running back with the Huskies. Andre, first of all, thanks for doing this.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Brian Towers alluded in Week 1's show just about how much you've been able to impress him and the coaches early on. They knew what they were going to get with you as far as a player, but just the person as well. And then, Week 1, you're making an impact scoring the first touchdown of the season. Take us through that.
Like you said, I've had a chance to go through camps and stuff like that, and I've been playing football for a while, so it was a great chance for me to come here, and the coaches put us through a lot of things right off the bat, and right off the bat last Friday night got a chance to have an impact on the game, and I felt pretty good about my game, and I was pretty happy to contribute with a touchdown right off the bat like that.
The 8-yard line, Burko in there. Will pull it down and throw complete and into the end zone for the touchdown. Andre Lalonde with his first touchdown in the CIS.
Huskies were excited about this kid, and now we're seeing why. He's able to run the ball hard. He has good hands in the flat. After he secures that catch, he's putting his head down. He's getting in that end zone. He knew where he was on the field.
Take us through the play on the touchdown.
It was just, you know, coming out of the backfield, running a quick out, trying to catch the defense off guard, and, you know, Burko made an excellent throw to me, and I had a step on my guy, and fortunately was able to break the plane, and, you know, got the team into it and got the fans into it.
Obviously, your coaches, teammates, that kind of thing are congratulating after the touchdown and after the game and the media and things like that. But after the game's over, who's the first person you talked to? Who's the first person who called you to congratulate you on the touchdown?
I mean, I had lots of family here at the game, so I was able to see all of them and kind of share this first opportunity I've had with the Huskies with them, and so it was really great having a whole bunch of family there, you know, the parents and stuff like that. So they were really excited too.
Take us through your first couple of pro camps. I mean, you've had an opportunity with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. What that's been like?
You know, those both great experiences. They were both held right here too, so I, you know, kind of had an opportunity to see how things were run from the Husky standpoint and the Rider standpoint, and you know, just learning from those type of coaches and players was a great opportunity for me, and I feel I've become a better football player after those two camps.
So what have you learned from those camps, from your time at the Hilltops, and even here early on with the Huskies that's going to allow you to make that step to the next level?
I mean, there's so many things I can mention. You know, just little things, whether it's technique or, you know, just reading the playbook, things like that. You know, there's so many things that in a football game you never stop learning. Football is an evolving game, and so there's always things you can work on.
You know, I tried to, you know, reach out to your brother a little bit. We played some hockey together and tried to get some dirt on you, but he's got nothing. He said there's absolutely no dirt on Andre. You're kind of quiet, went about your own business. Talk about, you know, you as a person and kind of why you would say that.
Well, I'm not sure if he was being completely honest with you there or not, but you know, I kind of keep to myself. Well, not really to myself, but you know, I have no problem, you know, going out with friends or, you know, having fun with the guys or whatever. But you know, once it comes down to the football field, it's all business. But once the game's done, you know, I like to have fun though too. One
thing he did tell me about was one time when you guys lost to Wynyard, which is when I grew up, and I believe it was a close game. You had a big game. You mentioned a couple of touchdowns. I think it was 3 interceptions, obviously, in was it 9-man football? Yeah. You play both sides of the ball, so you were impacted there. But, you know, talk about that game.
You know, it was quite the game. You know, losing by 1 point as they kicked a single through the end zone. Yeah. But, you know, those are the days where, you know, whoever has the best chance for you to win, you know, you just put them on the field and let them play, you know. Yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing on defense, but fortunately the quarterback didn't know much better either.
This is because it's my hometown, though. It's a better program, right?
Yeah,
it's the,
exactly.
The Golden Bears program. No, we did talk a lot about your hockey career. Obviously, you played a lot of hockey. You know, 2-sport athlete. You still play?
I still just playing a little bit of rec hockey right now. You know, I'm not really playing anything too serious. Going to focus on football, and anything more serious than rec hockey would probably be jeopardizing injury or something like that. So I'll just focus on football for right now.
Well, we've got a spot on Happy Lookouta, the adult safe B team. You know, if you're interested, what kind of hockey player are you?
I'm more of a D man. You know, I'm not really much of a goal scorer. I kind of sit back there and not let anything happen behind me.
Good, that's what we need. We have no defense. Yeah. That's perfect.
Well, that's rec hockey. It's tough to find someone like that.
What goals do you have for this football season, for yourself personally?
Oh, for myself, I don't really have anything set personally. Kind of with my role happening with this team, it's kind of a complete role, so doing a little bit of everything, and so you know, I never know game to game, you know, how many times I'm going to touch the ball or what I'm going to do. So just you know, just a successful season for the team, and obviously that Vanier Cup would be pretty nice at the end of the year.
Yeah, it really would. But we'll leave it there, Andre. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and best of luck throughout the season.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right. There's Andre Lalonde, running back for the Huskies, joining us this week in our player profile.
This week's CIS Top 10, the Huskies, they drop 1 spot after the 42-41 victory over the Alberta Golden Bears, dropping them to number 7 in the nation at 2-0. Guelph is the team that moves up into number 6. It's Laval and Calgary continuing to dominate. Laval 2-0 and Calgary 2-0. They sit 1-2 again this week. Manitoba moves into the top 10, sitting at number 9.
And welcome back once again inside the studios here on Huskies All Access. Darren Dupont alongside the Outsiders, Dallas Carpenter, and Tom Croker down at the end of the table. And time now to set the table for this week's matchup against the Calgary Dinos. It's a battle of undefeated teams, gentlemen, a battle for first place in Canada West. But you wouldn't know it looking at each of these teams' last week's performance, as the Huskies narrowly escaped Edmonton with a 1-point victory over the winless Alberta Golden Bears and winless back to 2010. And the Dinos continue to roll as we start to look at your keys to victory in this one for the Huskies. And we'll start with the keys on defense and special teams. Tom?
Let's tighten up the pass coverage. We can't make things so easy on the quarterbacks and receivers for Calgary. Let's get back to being aggressive like we did against Manitoba and get after the quarterback. Passive defense has no chance against the Dinos. I'm not sure that the three-man rush works for us in second and long either. In special teams, Denton's been very solid these first 2 weeks. We need to win the battle of field position. His kicking's been great. We need to clean up the coverage teams. They were a mess against Alberta.
Here's hoping we can do that. Jeff Hughes was a player in Alberta, came up with a big play when it mattered the most.
He's a great player. This is his fourth year with the Huskies now. He's got great instincts, good tackler, can drop back into pass coverage. May have been the Huskies' best defender last year prior to suffering a season-ending injury, and I think his name's going to be called on draft day this spring.
Well, we've got a challenge on defense as the Dinos have scored 130 points through 2 games here in the Canada West season, but it's not going to be that much easier on offense. The Dinos have only allowed 14 points against in the 2 games. The keys to offense, Dallas?
Well, I think the first one is to slow down Calgary's pass rush. The Calgary has a very good defensive line, and as we saw last week, the Huskies need a little bit of help in that area. They only allowed 1 quarterback sack, but there were a lot of quarterback hurries that contributed to a lot of incomplete passes downfield. They're going to have to find their running game. That was really limited in Edmonton, and Alberta was up for the challenge there, and I have a sneaking suspicion that Calgary will be too. They put a lot of pressure on the offensive line, and they fill in those gaps well with their linebackers, so they're going to have to be ready for that. And then they're going to have to stretch the field early. That's something they didn't do against Alberta. They're going to have to try to get some of those long bombs and complete those passes downfield in order to open things up underneath. And a good way to do that is to hit receivers like Mitch Hillis. He's a second-year receiver for the Huskies, and obviously the brother of Kit Hillis, and he's made a few outstanding catches so far in this season, and he's a guy that they're going to have to look for as both a scoring threat and as a possession receiver underneath.
Yeah, and he's been a favorite target of Drew Burkos early on in the season. So there's your keys to victory as the Huskies getting set to take on the Calgary Dinos at home. Time now to look at the rest of Canada West as we look at this week's game predictions. And we'll skip Friday for a moment. We'll come back to the Huskies and the Dinos, but looking ahead to Saturday, the early game has UBC at 0-2 against Manitoba at 1-1. And what do you guys think are you expecting here in this one?
Well, we've got 2 teams headed in opposite directions. UBC really needs this win, otherwise their season could spiral out of control. But unfortunately for them, I think their perfect record continues. I'm going to take the Bisons by 10.
Dallas?
Yeah, and I'm pretty much in the same boat there. I think Manitoba just has a much better overall team, and I certainly think that they're going to do the same thing that Calgary and Regina did to UBC's secondary, and they're going to really stretch them out and score some points. So I'm going with Manitoba 38, UBC 17.
And we've really seen Manitoba's offense through 3 halves, and 3 halves on Shaw, the game on Shaw. So you know, it's hard not to pick Manitoba in this one either. I will as well, and I'll pick them by 13. Second game on Saturday has Regina at 1-1 against Alberta at 0-2. We might see some surprises here, guys.
Well, I know Regina's not going to overlook Alberta. I know that for sure. I think they are the better team, but the streak has to end sooner or later, doesn't it? And I think Alberta's going to turn the tables after what happened last week, so I'll take the Bears by 1 point.
Bears by 1. Dallas?
Well, I think if the Bears come out and play at the same level of intensity as they did against the Huskies, that they'll win this game for sure. So I'm going to go Bears 28, Rams 18.
I don't think the Bears are quite there yet. I think Regina is going to learn from Saskatchewan's mistakes. I'll pick the Rams, and I'll pick them by 7 in this one. And then we move back to Friday, where it is Calgary undefeated against the undefeated Huskies. What do we make of this game, and do we have any idea what's going to happen?
Well, I will say this. The Huskies played the Dinos very tough last year, especially on defense and at home. We really took it to them in the first half last year. We only allowed, I think, 9 points, 6 drives, no drives of 6 plays or more, and no drives longer than 41 yards. However, our offense has only averaged 224 yards a game against them over the last 3 years. That, coupled with the performance from last week, really has me concerned. Prove me wrong, Dogs, but I'm taking the Dinos by 14.
Dinos by 14. Dallas?
Well, you know, I think that the Huskies match up well against the Dinos on paper, and they gave them, as Tom mentioned, their only real regular season challenge last year. However, the Huskies have a few more areas to do work on, and the Dinos are just a step ahead of them. And so I think that the Huskies keep it close, but the Dinos will win by 6, by a couple field goals.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that one too. I do think that this game is going to be a lot closer than maybe some of the fans think after the way the Huskies came out and narrowly avoided defeat against Alberta. I will take the Dinos as well. I don't like to go against the Huskies on the program. Doesn't make you very popular, but you know, you got to go with the Dinos. They've got such a pro-ready team. A lot of players are ready to take that next step. So it will be Dinos by 10 in that one, and the Huskies will regroup the following week. So, you know, one final thought from each of you on just what you expect this weekend, just from this game and from the Huskies.
I expect the Huskies to come out flying. I'll be very disappointed if they don't.
Dallas?
Yeah, I expect a much more physical team than we saw in Alberta, and I expect a huge crowd there to cheer the Huskies on and give them that whole home field advantage.
All right, so we're looking forward to that one. That one is on Friday at Griffith Stadium. On behalf of Tom and Dallas, the Outsiders, be sure to check them out on HuskyOutsider.com. Be sure to find Huskies All Access through your social media platforms and here on Shop. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.